Hello and welcome to Gatecrashers. In human design, gate 45 is the gate of the gatherer, resources, the monarch, the king, or the queen. In this Gatecrashers episode, we explore this energy through the character of Richard. This series brings the human design gates to life in stories and in patterns and through lived experience. Gate 45 explores the gift of gathering and making sure everyone has enough in the tribe, supporting is the voice of the tribe, I have, with its shadow of dominance and the monarch who stops listening to what the tribe actually needs. If you're studying human design or exploring your own chart, this may well help you recognize the energy of Gate 45 in your actual lived experience. Richard has always known whose house this is. Not just his own house, though, yes, obviously his own house. Every corner, every shelf, every drawer that sticks in damp weather, and the precise trick required to open it. But also any house, any room, any gathering of people around a table or a fire or for a quarterly budget review. He walks in, he takes in the room, and he just knows who holds the resources, who is nominally in charge, and who is actually in charge, who is waiting to be told what to do, and who can be trusted to just get on with it. Richard is not arrogant. And it's important to say this because it can look like arrogance from the outside. Richard is not doing authority, he's not performing authority. He simply has authority. It sits on him the way a well made coat sits on someone, naturally, without effort, as if it was always going to be there. Gate 45 lives in the throat center. It's tribal. It's in the ego circuit, connected through the channel of money to gate 21 in the will center. The ego center or the heart center, all the same thing. This is the channel of the ruler and the treasury, the king and the treasure chest, the person who gathers the resources of the tribe and decides how they flow. And it's a manifestor channel, which means Richard tends not to discuss. He tends not to consult too much. He doesn't hold a town hall meeting about the direction they're going to travel in. He acts. He informs. The decision has been made. What follows from there is the provision. The voice of Gate 45 is specific and singular. It says, I have. It's not really we have, although this is tribal, because Richard is a monarch. He's not a committee. The authority is his. The buck stops with him. The resource is his to hold and his to deploy. And when he speaks about what is possible or not, people believe him because he has assessed the situation. He knows the ground. And he is not in the habit of saying things he hasn't truly considered. Richard is at his best when the tribe is gathered and he is in his proper place within the tribe. Not necessarily at the head of the table, although that often happens, but as the person through whom resources move. The one who says, I have and I will provide, and then does. The uncle who shows up with exactly the right thing, the manager who goes to bat for the budget and comes back having won it, the community organizer who knows where the money is and how to get it to where it's needed for the best result to support everyone. When Richard is functioning well, the tribe flourishes. Quietly, practically, without fanfare, things work. The roof gets fixed. The team gets paid. The family are fed. And there's no ceremony about it. This is simply what Richard does. He's also wonderful at Christmas. But here is what distinguishes Richard from the merely powerful. He does not want you dependent on him. And this is the thing sometimes people misread about Gate 45, expecting a ruler who hoards and who keeps the tribe grateful, and therefore compliant, because this is the energy that we see in the world. It's a distorted 45. Richard is not like this. Or rather, Richard at his best is not like this. Truly, he would rather teach you to fish. And the phrase is a cliche. But for Richard, it is also genuine orientation. Give a person a fish and they eat today. Teach them to fish and they eat for the rest of their life. And Richard, who takes enormous private, sustaining pride in supporting his tribe, gets far more joy from watching someone become capable than from being permanently needed. There's something in him that wants his tribe to be strong, not just comfortable, but strong, self-sufficient, able, capable. He initiates this without announcing it. A word here, a piece of knowledge passed across the table, a problem handed back with the tools to solve it rather than a solution ready wrapped. It doesn't look like teaching because Richard doesn't perform teaching. It simply happens in the way that things around Richard simply happen. Decided, delivered, done. The shadow of 45 creeps in differently. And it's not that Richard stops providing. He never stops providing. But it's the provision kind of loses its intelligence gradually. The pride in, I support this tribe, it kind of curdles very slowly into, I know what this tribe needs. And the gap between those two things, which kind of begins as a hairline crack, it widens over time into something that separates Richard from the very people he is here to serve. He stops noticing what has changed. He's still the king, after all. The resources are still flowing, but he is flowing them towards a different version of the tribe that no longer quite exists. Maybe it's a version from 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and nobody has really found the right moment to tell him that he's a bit out of sync. The teaching has also quietly stopped. It was never announced, so the absence of it isn't announced either. But the people around him have started waiting again for Richard to sort it. And Richard, without consciously doing it, has started sorting, rather than building the capacity of the tribe to sort it for themselves. The dependency he never wanted has taken root and grown in the silence. There's another kind of Gate 45, and it deserves its own little portrait here. There's someone who carries the gate without the channel, perhaps without the defined throat, who has the antenna for I have, I don't have, without the real willpower and commitment to hold the position consistently. They feel the tribal pull keenly. They sense what's needed. They genuinely want to provide, but they cannot always sustain their authority for long enough to deliver what's required, and the ground shifts under them. This person can spend a great deal of energy trying to be Richard, performing the certainty they feel but cannot quite maintain, and then wondering why they're so exhausted all the time. The answer for them, when it comes, can be a relief and also very humbling. They're not designed to hold the center. They're designed to feel it, and they might even be the ones who keep it honest. But they're the ones who see the energy moving through without having any kind of hold on it. Back to our Richard. For Richard, it's not a dramatic change. It's a conversation with someone young, someone he's been mentoring in his particular unannounced way, someone who says simply, "You taught me how to do this. Can I show you something?" Richard pauses. He says, "Yes." And what the young person shows him is not revolutionary. It's a small thing, but it is still a better way of doing something Richard has been doing adequately for years. But it is better. Richard can see that immediately because Richard has always been able to assess a situation clearly. He adopts it without fanfare, without making a big moment of it, because Richard doesn't perform humility any more than he performs authority. He simply updates, he decides, he moves. But something has opened, just slightly in the way that he reads the tribe. He begins to notice, again, what they actually need rather than what he has decided they need, or just what he's decided they're going to have. Teaching resumes. Sharper now, more current. The provision becomes intelligent again. And the tribe notices. And they don't make a fuss about it, but the room feels different, warmer, less like somewhere Richard administers and more like somewhere they're all together. Gate 45, the gate of the gatherer. Its gift is the ruler who knows I have comes with responsibility, not I am in control. It's the ruler who gathers not to possess, but to provide, who teaches and builds and supports and takes his deepest joy, not from the throne itself, but from the strength of his tribe. Richard knows whose house this is, and he is learning in his particular and unannounced way that the proudest thing a ruler can do is make himself unnecessary. Thank you for joining me. Are you loving yourself wildly? I hope you're loving yourself without restriction. And I am going to say, as I always do, go gently. Be kind to yourself. It is said that kindness is one of the most underestimated things we can do for other people. Don't be right, be kind. And so often we don't apply that to ourselves. Oh, go gently and be kind to your lovely self.